Hi, I have a deep respect for Native American culture. I know many people don't share the same experiences I've had growing up on Arapahoe Lane or traveling down Chickasaw Trail every day on their way home. They may not have gone to church at Chickasaw Trail Baptist Church every Sunday or paid their telephone bills at the Chickasaw Telephone Company. Things are a little different here where I live when it's now known as Chickasaw Country. Many of our businesses here have Chickasaw names, such as the Chickasaw Telephone Company, the Bedray Chocolate Factory, the Artesian Hotel, and the Chickasaw Cultural Center. Another one of Sulphur's main attractions is known as the Chickasaw National Recreation Area, where people come from all over to experience the natural springs, trails, and lakes. Growing up, some of my best friends belonged to the Chickasaw Nation, so I believe my view may be different from those of us who didn't grow up in that situation. The thing we have in common, though, is that we all have neighbors, friends, know someone, buy stuff from someone, or sell things to someone who has different cultural background than our own. A couple of years ago, I decided to go back to college to get my master's degree because the degree I wanted wasn't officially accepted yet. My advisor suggested that I start taking Native American leadership classes and transfer those over once the degree that I wanted was approved. Until I started taking Native American leadership classes, I had no idea some of the challenges Native Americans face. I had never heard of health disparities or understood the depth of how media's portrayal in Native American culture affected the people that I knew as friends, teachers, neighbors, business owners in our community. I had never heard of traumatic experiences being passed down through generations in DNA, or how trauma can affect children without them having experienced the trauma for themselves. I didn't realize how long-term discrimination affects Native Americans today. According to Brown and Rice, Native Americans suffer many of the same social and economic problems as other victims of long-term bias and discrimination, including, for example, disproportionately high rates of poverty, infant mortality, unemployment, and low high school completion rates. Once I started researching Native American culture, I was surprised that many of the things I had been taught in textbooks as a child was historically inaccurate. I was a little disappointed that even though I was surrounded by Indian lands and Native cultural centers, I had never been taught about the current challenges that Native Americans face. I had no idea the current struggles or the ways that I could help instead of being part of the problem. I didn't realize there were over 500 federally recognized Native American tribes in the United States. And because of this, I propose we find a way to educate future generations. All American history courses should include historically accurate facts and share every side of the American story. Educated students shouldn't be ignorant about tribal sovereignty or the reasons behind it. They should know about the culture of those they live alongside of and the problems society poses for them. In order for students to thrive in a multicultural society, they must know and understand other cultures. Cultural misrepresentations, racism, and cultural preservation are just a few of the problems that Native Americans face. Much of the misrepresentation and racism are hidden in socially accepted holidays and societal norms. Mascots such as the Indians, Redskins, and Savages adorn schools, and we still celebrate Columbus Day without giving any thought to how it affects Native Americans. In order to break the cycle of discrimination, we need to educate people on the reasons Native Americans are offended by it and why the use of symbols such as savages are harmful. Maintaining cultural preservation is also very important to some of the people that I know from the Chickasaw tribe. They want people to remember, to preserve the history, and to pass it down through generations and not just disappear into modern culture. Native American tribes are using cultural centers, advertising, and education to do their part to combat these problems. Locally, the Chickasaw Cultural Center does its part on educating the people on Chickasaw culture. They provide communities with education on the Chickasaw Nation, what it stands for, share their knowledge on farming and preservation, and strengthening communities. Changing deeply rooted opinions can be difficult, but educating youth and young adults about Native cultures can help the next generation see how they share values and celebrate cultural differences. I lead a local group of Girl Scouts, and because my co-leader is both a member of the Chickasaw tribe and a third-generation Girl Scout, she was approached to do an article on Chickasaw values and how Scouting values and Chickasaw values are alike. A local reporter for the Chickasaw Nation asked us to do a photograph shoot, and our girls graciously accepted. We spent the day learning about farming policies, practices, joining in stomp dances, exploring the living village, and eating buffalo prepared over an open flame. We used this opportunity to educate our girls on cultural differences and shared values. Our girls earned their Native American cultural badges, and we're working hard to educate them on all cultures and make sure that each girl knows that although our backgrounds may be different, our values can be the same. It's our hope that our girls will learn new things, be able to avoid cultural misunderstandings, and be better leaders in the ever-changing world we live in. Until we can incorporate Native American culture classes in general education and require Native American history classes as general courses in higher education, we can begin by talking about Native American cultures within our homes, families, and communities. We can start by teaching the children in our lives, under our influence, and in our troops. You see, we as people have the power to promote change. We can educate our children and ask that as college students we be educated on tribal sovereignty, racism, and current cultural issues within the United States of America. Only through education can we begin to be mindful of our behavior and change the future for generations to come. Hopefully, one day, even those who didn't grow up in Chickasaw country will be able to have a deep appreciation for Native American culture and the values that it represents. Thank you.